acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather, the Turrbal people of Yuggera land, as well as the Woiwurrung people of the Wurundjeri land. We recognise their continued connection to the land and waters of this beautiful place and acknowledge that they never ceded sovereignty. We respect all Turrbal and Woiwurrung elders and ancestors and any First Nations people here today.
I can't take it anymore!
Good afternoon, good evening, good day, and good morning, Blurtsters, wherever you are around the world. You are listening to the Blurt.
You absolutely are listening to the new Blurt. You've got the kicks to here. It's 11 past 8 p.m.ish, as we like to say on the new Blurt. Welcome, one and all, if you are following us live. There are a couple of people that follow us live weekly. Not many, but a couple. Quite a few more on the podcast. And that is cool. Happy Blurtdom night to you. And happy budget special as well. Or as we like to say, pork barreling 101. Now, I was going to have my squeal effects, but I totally forgot about that, which is quite unfortunate. It's got to be said. But right off the bat, it is our budget special, and Wenty's been doing lots of research in this area, so he's going to bore the ass off you about some of the stuff that's happening in the budget, and then I'm going to sort of interject with my boringness of the budget as well. But as we say, it's boring, but the thing is that it does affect us all in different ways, so I think it'll be well worth listening to. But the biggest thing is don't get sucked in, because as we know, anything and everything that you hear from this government right now is all about being re-elected. It's not going to save the planet. It's not going to save any part of your planet. Well, it might, but for a very short period of time. And we're not about that. Longevity, that word. What's the longevity? That is what we're looking for.
Longevity.
Yeah, that. Longevity. We're looking for that. The ghost speaks, which is wonderful because I need that ghost sometimes. But anyway, so off the bat, we will do Get Off The Grass ScoMo, which is our budget special. And then after that, we've got Party in the USA again. Haven't done Party in the USA for a while. And not always a party in the USA, as we said before. And it definitely isn't this week. Wency's going to be talking about Miami Beach and something going on a lot in spring break, which I imagine is probably bad because it normally is down there. But that does work into the Party in the USA segment quite well. And the other part that I will talk about is Trump guilty of numerous felonies, the prosecutor who resigned says. And we'll sort of get to the bottom of why a prosecutor actually resigned when he knew that Trump was guilty. Because this was on my mind a while ago. I do not understand why that happened. Anyway, we will discuss that and more regarding that. And the last segment of the evening will be Green There, Done That, aptly and beautifully named by Wency. And it's all about, obviously, what it says. It's all about our green environment, what we can do, what's actually happening, what innovations are out there that are improving innovations in the green space, i.e., what renewable energy is there, what sort of different processes there are to get renewable energy. We obviously know about wind and solar and hydrogen, not blue, green only, blue being powered by gas, which our wonderful government is very lapse of telling anyone. They just talk about hydrogen, but they never tell you what colour it is. They do that on purpose. So you must listen and you must understand the difference between hydrogen and green. Blue bad, green good. Okay, and so that will be the end of our show, as it were. So it's quite a big show tonight. Got a lot to get through. It should be extremely interesting. And if you can just bear with me for 2 seconds, I will introduce our magnificent co-host. But I don't want to introduce him without this happening. So here we go. Let's They're all happy to hear from you. I know.
They are. Yes, it's all the politicians in Parliament after the budget. Because yes, it's, or is it after the budget, or are they still running? I don't know.
I'm not sure. I mean, I know we're a little bit premature in the fact that I know that quite a few other media outlets are looking at diagnosing the budget quite a bit more Thursday onwards, I believe.
Yes.
But we thought we'd be sort of first off the bat, as it were, and had the first run up of what's going on. So
but we'll talk about that in the next segment. Of course,
we will indeed.
In more detail. But
Yes.
I am so looking forward to this Thursday because I fly into Melbourne.
I can't wait. Nice. That's so cool. Yeah. Well, are you getting flooded again at the moment?
Don't know, don't care. I'm three floors up now, so yeah.
God.
It's not going to happen now.
No. Well, that's it.
No.
You're sort of yelling out the window, aren't you? Come and get me.
Yep. Try harder, damn you.
Exactly right. So.
I was a little bit concerned with Brisbane going under again, considering how waterlogged this city and northern New South Wales still are. But it hasn't rained as much, so it hasn't affected as large an area. But tragically, someone died yesterday up near Toowoomba. So that was quite tragic, but not as much damage.
Was that in the floods?
Yeah, I believe so. Got caught in the car.
Yeah.
Like they say, if it's flooded, forget it. Just turn away. Doesn't matter how urgent you or whatever you're doing. Just don't drive through water.
No, absolutely. Swim for your life. No. But the other thing I was going to say is I saw some pictures of Lismore tonight. They're saying they need to evacuate again, the poor bastards.
I think it's not going to be as high. I think the levy will still be protecting the town, but it's still pretty bad. Just in case if they need to leave, they've asked them to evacuate. So hopefully it doesn't.
There was I don't know if it was Four Corners or 7:30 ABC or whatever, but there was an expose I think last night on. It was either the flooding that just happened or the flooding that's happening now. I can't remember, but they were showing the depth of the river, or the height of the river was 14 meters. I know we've sort of spoken about this a couple of weeks ago, but that's just crazy. That's crazy stuff. So.
Phenomenally, a lot of volume of water there. My heart goes out to them. It really does. But some of the other stuff they said, which was really interesting, is they said that I think 75% of the people that were rescued by community. Yeah, I'm not surprised.
And I don't know, can you run a country like that in a disaster situation? That the community, three-quarters of the community have to save everyone's lives?
Unfortunately, I think that's where the CES has to come in, and I think they need to get more funding in regions where there's a higher chance of getting some sort of massive natural disaster, like floods, bushfires, etc.
Do you know, I could not believe that the SES, I know this is my ignorance, but I didn't realise the SES was a volunteer association. I'm like, you're kidding me. I'm like, you're telling me that the government isn't funding an organisation that its specialty is to help people in a disaster.
In disasters or any other, even small disasters.
Yeah.
It's crazy, isn't it?
I was absolutely blown away by it. Totally, didn't get it at all.
Well, hopefully one day they'll start funding some sort of department or group of like the CS or some other association that will deal with disasters, because we can't rely on the Defence Force, obviously, because they have a job and they're highly specialised and highly paid people to do what they're meant to do, like protect the nation and all that. So,
well, I was listening to I think a retired general on a podcast the other week, and he was basically reiterating exactly that. And you are right. I mean, these guys, girls, they train in very high sort of elite levels, and as you say, they do cost a lot of money. And not only that, there's nowhere near enough of them to do what they need to do. They can't spread themselves as as thinly as they need to be, because if they ever get called up or whatever the situation, they wouldn't be be ready to do it type thing. So
I definitely think they have a place for maybe days after a serious event where maybe they pick up their use their specialized machinery that are, for example, in floods, they'll have, I don't know, tall tires and things like that that can go over areas where it's flooded and still be safe and be able to help out. So yeah, they've got specialized equipment that citizens don't or councils don't have. So that's
so how. Sorry, go for it. I'll apologize.
No, that's all right. No, I just said that's when we need them for specialized equipment.
Yeah. Well. So how is it in your area now? It's all sort of getting back, not to normal, but I mean, some sort of normalcy, or
yeah, pretty much. I think I may have mentioned it last week or the week before that. Most of the roads as you drive along, you wouldn't even know there was a flood weeks ago. There are some areas where you can still see people clearing out their walls or their gyprock walls and things like that, and they're putting it on the curb or in mini skips. But other than that, you wouldn't even know there's stuff happening.
Yeah, no, it's
so it's back to normal, I think.
Well, that is good to know at least.
Yes.
That you're more in a normal situation. But anyway, back to your trip down down under.
Something more cheery.
Yes, exactly right.
I've booked my tickets to see you and your play on Saturday night.
Yes. And people don't know what that play is. That is January 26th, Comedy Festival. You can book tickets at the Comedy Festival. We have a link, the link in the show notes at the end of every show. And you can go to the Clock Tower Centre to get your tickets there as well. I think you probably buy tickets on the night as well if you want to rock up to the Clock Tower Centre at before 7 o'clock, because show's on at 7. There's a matinee at 3 on Saturday, and on the Sunday, that's this weekend, 2nd and 3rd of April. Sunday is 3 o'clock as well. Are
you ready for it?
Yeah, I'm totally ready for it.
Ready?
I'm in a pretty happy theatrical thespionic. That's not a good word to use. Mood because so we've got this tonight, and then we've got Hamilton tomorrow night. So I'm really looking forward to that. Really looking forward to that. And then more practice on Thursday, big tech run on Friday, and then the 3 shows on the Saturday and Sunday. So I'm gonna be pretty dead on Monday. I know that.
I bet you are. Hope you got a day off from work.
No, but I am going to ensure that I'm not starting at any ridiculously early time.
And no changes. Make no changes.
No changes. If people don't quite know what Wency's talking about, we're both in IT, and it means sometimes that we have to do things out of hours, sometimes stupidly early, maybe 6 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, midnight, 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, whatever night or whatever time they feel that people aren't going to be interrupted. As long as we're interrupted that time, doesn't matter. But anyway, so that's what he was alluding to there.
Correct.
But I think it's now time for a bit of this. I think maybe.
Come on.
No. Talk amongst yourself, people. Here we go.
Can everyone get off the grass, please?
Sure. Let's just move back from there.
Hey guys, I've just reseated that.
Please, off the thing.
Sorry, mate.
All good? That's all good. Thanks.
It's all good. It's all good.
It's all good. Nothing wrong here. Nothing to see here. It's all good. Nothing wrong in the world.
No, not at all. But as we know, it's budget night, so it's the night of nights to suck in as many suckers and people that. And I've got to be honest, I don't get it. I don't understand. I'm sorry, but I just do not. I don't understand how you could have a government that has been so bad for the last 2 or 3 to 4 years or whatever, and even if you like them or you don't like them or whatever, I don't understand how there's people that rock up on a day to elect the government that is going to have probably quite a bit of effect on your life and what happens to it. And you haven't made a decision before you're about to get your democracy sausage. I'm sorry, but if you haven't, stay home, get the fine, don't vote, because we don't need it.
Yeah,
because
we
you're
need
just
decisive
not thinking
people.
about it enough.
That's right.
So,
But as we know, today is the big day of the budget. It's one of the biggest days of government. And the question now is this budget a real budget that's going to help us get out of trouble, or is it a vote-making
exhibition?
budget
that's
exhibition?
Yeah.
So we'll leave it to everyone else to make up that decision, but we'll throw in a few comments here and there, I'm sure, and see.
We absolutely will.
See if we're in a good place or not.
What you got for us on
what have I got?
Yeah, on your budget talk.
Well, will the budget maintain low inflation? Will it help struggling families pay the bills because prices are going up and up and up? There was an expected 3.75% unemployment rate, which will be forecast, I think, within the next year. If it reaches that, it'll be the lowest in 50 years.
And it'll be probably the only time in 50 years that we've had less international students in Melbourne and the rest of Australia and migrants coming to this country because of the fact that no one could get into the country for 2 years. They don't like to talk about that, but that is the truth. They've done absolutely 4/5 of BA for the unemployment rate to be where it is. It's got nothing to do with the government whatsoever, but they'll take all the credit.
And it's also, I think, missing out on the fact that there's a huge amount of underemployment. You have the gig economy, which doesn't come in as, it wouldn't be full-time work, wouldn't even be classed as part-time work. So it's all casual. I think I keep hearing the casualization of the workforce.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
we mentioned it last week, and as I said, my daughter, I mean, she'd been struck down by COVID, and so therefore, with the amount of hours that she works, she should be able to get some COVID payment. But because of the fact that she's a casual worker, because they won't give her part-time, they just say, oh, well, your hours are whatever your hours are.
So you've just missed out on 10 hours this week. Go to someone else.
That's it. So she can't get the payment. And it's just, it's total horseshit. I mean, I just read just recently that hospitality having to pay their chefs more because they used to pay their chefs less when they had international workers.
Okay. Wow.
So what are they doing? They're bringing more international workers back.
Of course, just to bring down the wages. And we go through the same cycle again where cost of living, the few words of the past couple of weeks, cost of living has gone up, wages stagnating. So, not good.
Well, no, it's not. I mean, I was just listening to somebody just recently, and they were saying that there was 3.5% inflation, I think they said last year, but the average wage increase was 2.5%. That means that you've gone back 1.5%.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I think that'll be worse this year with the prices that we've seen.
Oh, look, absolutely. But I read an article this morning, though, that should set your heart aflutter. It's quite uplifting. They're saying that the $4.75 windfall that the family should get back from the cut in fuel excise with the budget, the family is very, very they're up in arms. They're very happy about it because they might be able to buy half a head of broccoli this week.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, that is so true. We went to the supermarket and broccoli was $9 a kilo.
Yeah, no, it's that's
FFS.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm hearing that. I'm definitely hearing that, and I'm definitely hearing that.
Where's it? Oh
But-
yeah,
Yeah,
that was my reaction when
absolutely.
I saw that price.
But that family, they're still saving up for the capsicum. So they were lucky just to get the broccoli done. But that's from the shovel, so I'm not taking credibility for that. That's from the shovel, and the shovel. I will just put a bit of an adjunct in there. The people behind the shovel are the people that are behind the comedy show called Spin, which is Charles Firth and some other people that I can't quite remember. I think Jeff, is it Jeff Humphreys? No, something Humphreys.
What's his name?
Yeah, I can't remember. We'll have it in the show notes.
Guy, yes.
Him. Yeah, he's always on the ABC, and he's very fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's going to be him and Charles Firth and the Chaser and another dude I can't quite remember, but we will put it in the show notes anyway. So I'm going to that show at the end of April, so that should be awesome. Anyway, they're behind the shovel. So if you ever get a chance, people, read the shovel. Very funny, and most of it's sort of true, really. You know what?
Yeah, good for a laugh.
Yes,
and they have a podcast that I think gets released 2 or 3 times a day.
Oh, you mean Chaser Report?
Oh, is that the Chaser Report? Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's all a bit incestuous.
Yeah, it is.
It's hard to because you've got the shot, the shovel, and the Chaser, and there's comedy is it's sort of intertwining, if you like. It's quite similar. So. But
it is.
But very satirical and lots of fun. So.
It is. And back to the budget. So
yes,
one of the many things.
Budget. Yeah.
Budget. One of the many things that was predicted or leaked in the last few days was the petrol excise tax would be coming down. Currently, it's about 44 cents a litre of petrol. As of midnight tonight, it goes down by 20 cents, I think it was.
So I checked petrol just the other day, and I had a fuel lock on it with 7-Eleven, which I highly recommend people do. If they haven't got a 7-Eleven fuel lock, go and get one. They are well worth it. I've saved $10 on a tank of petrol once. It's awesome. Anyway, I got it at 203, but I noticed the other day it's gone down to 192 just around the corner.
Yeah.
So I was just waiting for that fuel lock to go away, and but I guarantee by the time I do,
it'll probably be back to 220.
Yeah, exactly right. But what I was going to say was, you just said 20 cents off. So what is it 20 cents off? Like what price is it?
So that's the excise. So federal government for a long time takes out 44 cents per litre.
Yeah.
And that goes to road maintenance and road improvements, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, so 20 cents comes off. So that's nearly, that's nearly 50% off. So that's going to run for about 6 months, I think it was. And yeah, so I'm wondering now what's going to happen to the roads in the next 6 to 12 months. Does that mean there'll be less maintenance on them, so it's going to get even worse than what they already are in some areas? So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, they're going to have to use a lot of that 44 cents, I would imagine, up in south east Queensland and the Northern Rivers and all the rest of it. So
Exactly.
they're going to need to fix some roads up there big time. There's going to be a lot of work up there for a while, I tell you. No one's going to be unemployed up there for a while.
Yeah, same as tradies, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of people coming in from other parts because they won't have the people power to fix up Lismore and those regions, and even here in Brisbane, we're going to have an influx of people.
When they had the earthquakes in New Zealand, I think it was 2007. It seems so much earlier than that. Sorry, it seems not that long ago, but I believe it was 2007, which is 15 years ago, which is ridiculous because it doesn't feel like it was 15 years ago.
No.
You couldn't get a tradie for love or money when you were over there. It was just impossible. And they were charging, they were getting paid good coin.
Yeah, exactly.
And there was lots of people coming in from international as well. So they were bringing tradies in, and you still couldn't get a tradie.
Yeah,
because
that's
they're
amazing.
rebuilding buildings and all the rest of it. So, but
Yeah.
but anyway, yeah. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. So you're saying by midnight tonight. So what I'm trying to work out is if someone goes to the petrol pump tomorrow, does that mean if it was like 192 yesterday, say it's going to be 172? Or what does
No,
it mean?
in theory, yes, but I read earlier that it may take up to about 2 weeks to see the difference in price.
Who would have
Because I
thought?
think, of course, and I'm assuming it's because the petrol stations have to run out of their current fuel, restock up with the new price, and then that's when the prices will come down by maybe 20 cents, maybe 5 cents. Who knows?
Yeah.
Let's see if the ACCC's onto it and makes sure that the prices do go down by 20 cents.
They seem like such a toothless tiger nowadays,
Oh,
the
they
ACCC. They
Yeah.
used to be actually good at one stage years ago. When Alan Fells was there, he was like a real terrier.
Yeah, it
And
was, wasn't
we're
he?
talking 25 years ago or something.
Yeah.
And, but ever since then, they've just, they're weak as piss. They just...
I think it's good for consumer products and things like that. But yeah, when it comes to
Yes,
these,
I agree with that. From that
it's
perspective, they're good. But yeah, the really big stuff, yeah.
But petrol has always been like that from as long as I remember. It's always been up and down like a yo-yo from one day to the next, and no one's ever been able to rein them in.
No, and one of the biggest reasons for that is because we're so stupid that we're still on petrol.
Yeah. Hopefully that'll change with the new government, and in the next 10 years.
Oh, God, we hope
won't
so.
we won't rely so much on it.
We absolutely hope. Look, if you're listening to this program and you own any sort of European vehicle and you paid anywhere near 60 to 80 grand for it, you can afford an electric car. So go out and get one, because if you can afford it, go and get an electric car. Don't be using petrol. One is costing you a fortune more than you need to be paying, and you're destroying our environment, which we do not need.
I think there are about at least 6 or 8 models that are under 60,000 at the moment in Australia, and I'm sure that'll go up in the next year. But
that's true. That is true. But the problem is, unfortunately, because of the lack of choice that we have, many of those under that price only go 250 odd K to 350 K or something as a max. So you got to pay around the 70 K mark to get something that will do like 400 to 500 K or something.
Exactly.
So that's
right.
That's the problem. I thought I'd just jump in here, just a couple of things, and then you can crack on because you've got lots of things there. And we will do just a couple of things, but I'm just going to just scan through a few here. COVID tests to be tax deductible. The cost of taking a COVID test to attend a place of work will be tax deductible for individual from the 1st of July. In making these costs tax deductible, the government will also ensure fringe benefit tax will not be incurred by businesses where COVID tests are provided to employees. 2 additional payments of Australian government disaster recovery payment will be available to residents in areas catastrophically impacted by floods, with an estimated cost of $245 million for current disaster declarations. Well, that's great. That's brilliant. But they still haven't seen any money for domestic abuse that they said after the Royal Commission, et cetera, et cetera. There's going to be a whole bunch of payments there. There was also meant to be a whole bunch of payments for the bushfire back in 2020, I believe, $4 billion worth or something, and apparently hasn't even half of that hasn't even been paid out. So how the hell would you know if 245 million, and really 245 million for what's happened is 4/5 of fuck all. It really is.
It is.
That's not a lot of money. I mean, when you're doing something like spending anywhere up to $100 billion on submarines we're not going to get until 2040, and then sub bases we don't even need. I mean, seriously, 245 million for your own people, that seems pretty pathetic to me.
Just on that,
domestic
on DV services, I'm just looking at the summary of what's been announced. The government has promised, and I love the word promise because that's pretty much defines this government. They promise a lot.
Oh, they do. They announce a hell of a lot.
Oh, yeah. So that promised $1.3 billion for frontline domestic violence services, emergency accommodation, and support to access legal and health services for women and children in need. I want to see that put into practice.
Oh yeah, you and me both, buddy.
Yeah.
You and me both. I mean, you can't. You just can't trust that.
No, it's gone on long enough. I think government needs to step in and make changes. We've seen too many tragedies happen across the nation, and there's one that's happening here in Brisbane. Hannah Clark, that was killed with her 3 children back in early 2020, and there's an inquest going in that. And yeah, just the stories I keep reading is just horrifying. So we need to stop this, and we need more intervention.
We need a bit of this, I think.
Levels.
I think we need a bit of this. Tell me if you can hear it.
I am a role model, Jerry. I have a family to support. Hear me? I want to stay in Arizona. I want my new contract. But I like you. Yes, I like you, Jerry. My wife likes you. You're good to my wife. I will stay with you. Are you listening? Yes. That's what I'm here for you. God bless you, Jerry. But this is what you're going to do for me. You listen? Jerry?
Yeah, what can I do for you, Rod? You just tell me, what can I do for you?
It's a very personal, very important thing.
It is personal and it is important.
It's a family model. Are you ready, Jerry? I'm ready. I want to make sure you're ready, brother. Here it is. Show me the money.
I think that is exactly what
we need.
Those domestic abuse victim survivors, I don't know, victim survivors, we should be expecting, and flood survivors and any disaster survivors from the bushfires, etc. And I imagine, I don't know, but I imagine there is nothing in the budget at all that has anything to do with First Nations or Indigenous issues of any description. Whether it comes to education in the North for officers to realise when just because someone's black doesn't mean you can just shoot them.
Exactly.
And, I'm wondering if there's any sort of funding for communities up there that are, trying to put their kids through law schools as much as they can, because they need lawyers up there so bad, because the police up there are just terrible as a rule. And some of the stuff that's been happening for far too long, and it shits me up the wall that we're not hearing anything in the budget about this, and it's not discussed, and it only just happened a couple of weeks ago. It was all over the news, and then it doesn't get talked about after that. It's
exactly. They are
not enough.
They are going to spend $636.4 million over 6 years to expand the Indigenous Rangers program, funding up to 1,089 new rangers by 2026-2027 fiscal year. So,
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That is very, very good. I'm hoping they're not using the Rangers. I hope the Rangers are consulting, i.e. at a senior leadership level, to tell our dickheads what to do.
Exactly. Let's hope that's the case, and maybe we'll keep an eye on it over the next few years as we... Yeah, exactly. Anyway. Yeah. Like you said, I'm not seeing anything in the budget for all that stuff that you just mentioned.
No. And I've got to be honest. I mean, I have no idea what Albo is talking about, and we'll get his reply, I think, tomorrow night or whatever it is. But
Thursday night, his official reply is.
What is shooting me a lot is that I see heaps of stuff about childcare and Medicare, and that's brilliant. All really, really good stuff. And then you hear them talking about clean energy. Again, really, really, really good stuff. But I just think they could push the climate change that little bit further and talk about their 43%, because the LNP are doing 28%, which is just an absolute disgrace of cutting emissions by, I think it's 2030. we're totally fucked if
Yeah,
if they get in again. And that's, I mean, I don't know if you saw there was a decision today regarding Angus Taylor. He's tried to get a bill through that what it will do is enable Arena was a department set up by Julia Gillard in 2010, and that government, not necessarily Labor government, but that particular government with Rob Oakeshott and Tony Windsor and Andrew Wilkie and that particular government, they've got 500 plus pieces of legislation passed. That particular government, anyway, they set up Arena, and that was all about renewable energy. And it was all about a particular funding grant or program for renewable energies. Well, anyway, Angus Taylor is trying to divert those funds to go to gas-led bullshit. And yeah, absolutely. And he's got fingers in those pies. Don't worry about that. And if we had an ICAC, we'd know about it. But hence one of the reasons we don't. And God, if we can get one and we can change this government, oh my! As I've said before, there's so much stuff coming out. It's not fun.
Watch the rats.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But anyway, the good thing was he tried to get that through. Labor and the Greens, and I think some of the crossbenchers, and maybe even some quite upset LNP people across the floor to not allow that to happen.
Oh, that's good.
So yeah, it is good.
Finally, they're showing some balls in Parliament to stop that.
Absolutely. But as you're saying, showing balls, LNP none at all at the moment. They refuse to put Liberal on any of their banners.
Yeah.
So Sharma, and I don't know if you've noticed, but the LNP banners are very similar teal colour. Not a proper royal blue as they have been in the past. I wonder why that is.
I wonder why they're trying to confuse people.
I mean, a couple of weeks' time, we're going to have Mark Kelly, an independent activist, I don't say expert because he probably wouldn't want me to call him that, but he is very good in this space. Will be able to give us a nice little rundown of what's happening with the independents, because I'm particularly interested to know, because Zali Stegel is she's on Quanda on Thursday night, so that'll be interesting. Allegra Spender was on Quanda a few weeks ago. That was interesting. And Zoe Daniel, who I think is going up against Leidenberg. That's right, isn't it?
I can't remember. Possibly.
I'm pretty sure she is. I'm pretty sure she is. But I mean, we'll have that in the show notes anyway. But anyway, she started following us as well.
Oh, that's right, yes.
Pretty cool. So Zoe Daniel was an ex-ABC journalist. And,
really good one too.
Yeah, I was going to say, absolutely. One of my faves. Absolutely one of my faves. But so I'm pretty sure she's running in the seat of, is it Higgins or Kooyong for Leidenberg?
Nope. Lost.
I can't remember. But anyway. So back to the budget. Paid parental leave. Paid parental leave will receive a permanent boost in the budget. Parents will be able to claim a total of 20 weeks leave to be shared between them as they see fit. They really are sucking up to their voters, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. Young families.
I must admit, I have to take my hat off to how much they can suck up.
Well, I don't blame them, because when we had our kids early, I didn't get paid. I got 2 weeks, I think it was.
Oh, same as you. Same as you. I didn't. We didn't get anything at all.
But the childcare back then was a lot more affordable than what it is now.
Oh, it's nuts.
So it's great to be able to see that. But still more needs to be done. But it's better than nothing.
No, I 100% agree. When we had Indy, we didn't get anything at all. So, now it was interesting because around that time there was the first homeowners grant and there was a baby bonus and all this shit.
Right. Yeah.
And we missed out on every single one of them.
Did you? No, we got the baby bonus. We got the first homeowners grant.
No, missed out on everything.
Wow.
I was not a happy camper. I don't know how we did that, but we did. We missed out on everything. Wasn't good. Anyway, so including school parents who will be eligible for 20 weeks for the first time. The measure will cost $346 million over 5 years. Yeah, happy with that. I don't have any issues with that.
No, that's great.
At all. I mean, it's
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's taxpayers' money. We're taxpayers. It's our money.
Mm.
So I'm okay for you to do that. No problem.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly right.
anyway, you go, bud.
What else have I got? Cost of living payments and tax offsets. There's going to be $420 maximum tax refund for individuals. Welfare recipients and seniors will receive a one-off payment of $250, which will be delivered in April. So I'm assuming that's all going to be automatic because you're a pensioner or you're on welfare, so you'll get those straight away.
Robert will come to your house and try to nab that back if you don't.
Exactly.
Too much. So that's fine.
Yeah, exactly. We've had payments like that in the past, and it's been quite automatic and unlike robo-debt, it didn't get taken away. Not for us anyway, when we got it years ago. But one of the other things that they're going to be spending money on over 5 years is mobile coverage in regional Australia. They will be spending $811 million to fix up black holes in mobile and also fixed wireless internet. So that way, there's better internet for those not in the city. One of the things, if anyone has noticed, I've been drinking beer tonight. So one of the things that got me interested in the budget this year was
I think you say in the beer.
Into the beer was the rumor that there was going to be a tax cut on a beer tax cut because with COVID over the last few years, patronage at pubs and etc. and hospitality has cut patronage quite a lot.
I mean, at pubs.
At pubs and things like that. So
Dan Murphy would have gone through the roof though.
For home people, but not for pubs and things like that. So
no, that's probably true. That's probably true.
So Australians pay the fourth highest excise or tax on beer in the industrialised world. Then they pay another 10% GST on top of everything, including the excise. So not only do they pay excise, then they pay 10% on top of the excise. So last year, what year was it? Taxes on beer drinkers netted the Australian government $3.6 billion last year. That's $2 billion in excise. So that's nearly half, just over half of the money is in excise that the government collects, and then the 1.3 billion is in GST. So they were hoping that the Breweries Association was hoping there'll be a tax cut. And from what I read earlier, there is no beer tax decrease this budget. So we'll be paying the same price for beer in the coming months.
Right. So the benefit is for the pub owners. Is that right?
Yes.
Didn't the pub owners get JobKeeper?
Yes, they did.
Right. And they were allowed to keep it, I believe, because no one went after them afterwards, even if they made a profit.
Yeah, exactly. Because rich people are allowed to keep it, so why not the small publicans?
Okay. And now they're getting a cut in their excise as well.
No, there was no tax excise cut. So they'll be paying the same amount, which is a shame because they would have reduced the prices for patrons so that they could get more customers in. But I think people are still coming to pubs once.
Look, I think without a doubt, something that Australia needs is more people drinking.
Oh yeah, that's what we need. It's a culture of drinkers. Just what we need. Just we need
more people drinking, and we need to drink more when we're there. I mean, it's quite obvious. Quite obvious. And I tell you what, if this government get back in, that is definitely going to be happening here.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be in the pub every night.
Yeah. Well, we'll be there next week when I'm there.
Yeah. Yes, we will be. Looking forward to that. That will be very good. Looking forward to that as much as I'm looking forward to this. Yeah, I think we've had enough of a party in Australia. We need to do a little bit of partying somewhere else, I think, my friend.
Yes, I think so.
And what I wanted to talk about was, if you could just humor me for a second, is I need to just do that. And then when I've done that, I can do that. Okay. So I'm not sure if you know about this story, but the prosecutor that was prosecuting Trump in his latest case resigned, and there was a reason that he did that, and the reason was the judge himself stopped the investigation into Trump.
Oh, is this regarding the January 6th insurrection?
No, do
just
you know
Trump
what?
in general?
I don't even think it was that. I don't even think it was that. One of the senior Manhattan prosecutors who investigated Donald Trump believed the former president was guilty of the numerous felony violations and that it was a grave failure of justice not to hold him accountable, according to his copy of the resignation letter. So Alvin Bragg, who is the district attorney, Manhattan district attorney, abruptly stopped pursuing an indictment of Mr. Trump. Mr. Pomerantz, who was the prosecutor, who came out of retirement to do this, resigned on the same day. Another senior prosecutor leading the inquiry. So there was two of them on the same day.
Right.
So the letter obtained by New York Times explicitly his belief that the office could have convicted the former president. Mr. Bragg, who is the Attorney General, decision was contrary to public interest. The team has been investigating Mr. Trump, harbours no doubt about whether he committed crimes. And Mr. Pomerantz and Mr. Dunn plan to charge Mr. Trump with falsifying business records, specifically his annual financial statements, a felony in New York State.
Right.
The Attorney General's decision not to pursue charges threw the fate of the long-running investigation into serious doubt. Now, earlier that month, much of the debate centered on whether the prosecutors could prove that Trump knowingly falsified the value of his assets on financial statements. Even Trump's not that stupid. The Times found a necessary element to proving the case. Mr. Bragg, the Attorney General, said that his office continues to conduct the investigation. For that reason, the Deputy New York Attorney General, who became District Attorney in January, is barred from commenting on specifics, i.e., he's not talking.
Right.
The two prosecutors are, but he's not. So this is a real blow, and it's not good. And the resignation letter cast a harsh light on the decision from perspective of Mr. Pomerantz, who wrote that he believed there was enough evidence to prove beyond doubt that
Right.
Trump is in deep shit. And in a statement responding to the letter, Ronald Fischetti said that charges were not warranted, and that Mr. Pomerantz had the opportunity to present the fruits of his investigation to the DA and his senior staff on several occasions have failed. I think this is a really good time to just mention that Clarence Thomas, who is one of the most senior judges on the Supreme Court in America, his wife has been caught texting at the time of the election multiple times, don't certify, don't certify, don't certify.
Right.
And I don't quite get why or how she isn't in jail. Surely being the other half of the Supreme, like the most
Court judge,
Supreme of the Supreme Courts, if you like. Being the other half and doing something completely contradictory to the law.
Yeah.
I'm totally bamboozled by that. But saying that, she's a massive Trump fan. So obviously no bias there whatsoever.
No, not at all.
And obviously this Bragg guy, Must be getting paid or something.
Yeah.
I mean, he's saying the Manhattan District Attorney has said the investigation into Mr. Trump is continuing. Oh, that's great, mate. That's fantastic. So the two guys that are about to prosecute the guy have resigned, but you're going, oh, they're still investigating. I'm like,
Yeah. Interesting.
So, yeah, it's really not good. Mr. Trump has long denied wrongdoing and leveled personal attacks on the people investigating him, including a thinly veiled reference to Mr. Pomerantz. He claimed that lawyers from Mr. Pomerantz's former law firm had gone to work the district attorney's office in order to viciously make sure the job gets done. Well, I probably agree with him there.
Because they have to.
That's probably 100% true. They want to make sure, you bastard, you're behind bars.
Yeah.
Well, you should be.
Yeah, for doing all the shit things that you did.
Absolutely. Take a leaf out of your book. Lock you up. Lock you up. Lock you up. Do you know?
Why do I get the feeling that nothing's going to happen to the 45th president?
I honestly, yeah.
Despite what's happening in the courts at the moment.
Yeah. I don't know. That people are just too gutless, but I can understand why. Because the nutcases are the ones with all the guns that we've discussed on this show before.
Yeah.
But
let's just hope that history will look back on this and go, yeah, he wasn't the best president. He was probably the worst president ever. He did a lot of shit that was wrong, but he's no longer in power, and let's just forget about him.
Well, that would be good. Unfortunately, I can't see that happening because it looks like the Democrats are probably going to lose the Senate, and they're probably going to lose the House of Congress as well, which will basically make Biden a lame duck president for the rest of his presidency, if that happens. The only way that...
There you go.
I was just saying the only way that can't happen if Democrats get off their asses and just whatever they do, make sure they vote in the midterms this year. They need to get out there. It doesn't matter what you believe in. If you don't want Trump to be your next president again, you need to do something about it. You got to just get off your high horse. And this sort of comes right back to a compromise situation. And the way that I equivocate this is years ago, when we were going to have a emissions trading scheme, and they tried to get it through, I think it was back in 2010, 11, 12, whatever it was, we had Malcolm Turnbull tried to get it through, and then they had that coup overnight that bloody Budgie Smuggler Man came in and took over and told us that climate change was crap, and he still spouts on all that
tax is bad.
Rubbish. Can't believe that guy's a Rhodes Scholar. Seriously, I know a bit more about Rhodes now too, so I can believe he's a Rhodes Scholar. But anyway, that's another story. What my point was that the Greens at the time didn't compromise. They said, you don't give us this,
we don't do this.
We're not going. And so what happens? We're still sitting here, 15 years, 20, I don't know what it is, 10, 12, 13 years of
like that,
just, energy bloody limbo.
Yeah. Just no movement at all.
No. And that was because of that. So sometimes you just do have to just pull your head in and do what is best for the community, do what is best for the world. Do not let this bastard get back in. I'm telling you. Americans, if you listen to this podcast, and apparently 48% of you do, unless you're robots, don't let him in. Seriously.
The best way to get around that is the Democrats over there need to get boots on the ground and start door knocking on people's homes and talk to them and say, hey, here are your options. You can either have old man doing a decent job or F-wit doing a shit job and doing all the illegal stuff that he was doing previously.
Well, you know what the worst part is, though? The worst part is that the Republicans, unfortunately, there's many Republican voters that are just idiots. I mean, they just are, because if they had a clue what their party was actually doing to them, there is no way they would vote for them. But they don't. They don't actually read what their party does. They just think what their party represents, but they don't read anything. I mean, there's so many Republicans that think that they got a whole part of this funding package that Biden put together that not one Republican voted for. They actually think that the Republicans voted for the package. So when
Yeah.
they get the package, they don't thank the Democrats, they thank the Republicans.
Yeah.
And the reason is the Republicans actually went out there, represented the fact that they voted for it, lied,
Yeah.
and said, look what we've done. And not
Yeah.
one of them voted for it. And this is where the Democrats just have to just toughen up and just stop taking this shit, because
Exactly. They need to start saying, hey, by the way, your Republican Party didn't vote for this. Here are the facts. Here are the votes. And just show them.
But the problem is, though, their media is so right wing over there, and it's not just. And you're talking about MSNBC, you're talking about CNN. They're not right wing, right?
Yeah.
But they're too gutless to be anything progressive at all.
Yeah.
Like, if they go anywhere near progressive side of politics, they just, I don't know, the listenership just melts down or whatever. I don't know what the situation, but I do know they're gutless.
Yeah, or they're afraid of Sky News will just pound them in the media, and they'll lose readership.
It's. I mean, we saw it last week in the happiness report, the top 100 countries. How the hell they're in the top 20, I'll never know.
Yeah.
75 million of them are just nutbags. They have to be to vote for that idiot. I mean, to be honest with you, not 75 million. It's probably about 33 million, 35 million, because the other lot just vote Republican. They don't care who's there. That's just what they do.
They would have voted.
The other mob vote for him.
Yeah.
And the worst part is, though, he knows he's lying, and he doesn't care.
No. He's always been like that. In business, he was like that.
Yeah.
On TV, he was like that.
Yeah.
He just lies.
No, he's always been an asshole. That's not changed. Yeah, before he was president. But see, this is why it just keeps doing my head in just constantly, because it's like Latinos now. Apparently, he's got quite a big Latino vote because they go, oh, look at him, he's a self-made millionaire, he's a businessman. No, he's not. He was given 100 million at birth or something, lost it all, and then, he won some of it back or whatever, screwed over thousands of people, screwed over your people, screwed over black people all the time.
Yeah.
And those idiots are voting for him. I'm like,
do they
not even read history? I mean,
do they not even remember locking out the immigrants on the border in Texas and California and separating the kids from the parents and displacing them and things like that? And that was all under Trump's watch.
Yeah, it was, but unfortunately, because that's such a bad situation down there, I mean, Biden still hasn't sorted that situation. I mean, he doesn't have kids in cages and stuff like that, but
man, they should be doing that. You'd think that Democrats would be raking in the positive reviews compared to Trump of the last 40 years.
Well, I think the Afghanistan thing was something that the right-wing media could just jump straight on. And,
true. When they pulled out.
And they did. And believe it or not, I mean, you got the nutbag over there, Tucker Carlson, on Fox News, who believes nothing he says. He believes nothing that he says. He's just a complete idiot getting paid a fortune. And he really doesn't. He just makes shit up all the time, and he doesn't believe anything he's saying. But anyway, he's almost pro-Russian.
Yeah, I heard that that the Russians in their media was getting Tucker Carlson YouTube stuff or whatever he said. They're putting it on through their propaganda.
Yeah.
Like,
so in the 1980s, as you know, Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan, and we were around all through this, the Cold War. Who was that with?
The Soviet Union.
Right. And what are they called now?
Russia.
Right. And this idiot is saying it just blows my mind. It's like this idiot is pro-Russian, and then the idiots watching him are pro-Russian, and they had a massive Cold War. Do they actually realize what Russia is? Do they realize it used to be the Soviet Union? I mean,
no, they don't. They probably don't.
Oh, God.
I don't
It just
get it.
goes on and on. Anyway, I'll stop ranting and banging on. You probably got something far more interesting. Go for it.
Seeing as we're partying in the USA, it is
Yes.
that time of year where students, much like schoolies here in at the end of the school year, will go to Florida and do their spring break.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so the last weekend just gone, they were put into curfew in Miami because gunshots were fired last week, injuring 5 people. There's been a lot of violence, a lot of drunken idiots around in Miami, and so the state of emergency was declared, and that curfew was imposed.
That was the state of emergency.
I'm sure that's all they heard all week long before the curfew, with the music and partying and people barfing everywhere.
It just sounds wonderful.
I'm sure they're having a good time, but I'm sure the residents of Miami are just sick of them.
Yeah. Well, I think we've got a resident on the phone here right now.
Have we?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can sympathise with that lady.
I wouldn't want to be. No, it's a bloke. I don't want to be anywhere near. I don't want to be anywhere near the spring break when someone's there. Jesus.
Tell me about it. I thought schoolies was bad. I think this would be even worse.
Oh. It's AR-15s, I believe. So yeah, it's probably a bit worse.
Well, with guns and everything else.
Yeah.
So the tradition started in 1938 when there was a university or college, swim carnival that occurred in Fort Lauderdale. So they came from a cold state and came to Miami to do some swim carnivals and practice and training and things like that. And the swimmers enjoyed it so much that they thought, oh, maybe we should do this every year. So it started off like that, and then they had drinks and stuff like that after the event.
Oh, yeah, because everyone knows the best way to train and get better at doing anything is by drinking profusely.
Yeah, exactly. Straight afterwards. Well, they swim like a fish, so they may as well drink like a fish.
Drink like one. Very good. Very good.
Boom, boom.
Very good.
Yes, so there we go.
Very good.
So that started in Fort Lauderdale in Florida, and by 1960 it grew to become a much larger event, tens of thousands of
Fort Lauderdale, that's a dangerous place.
Is it? Never heard of it until I read this.
Yeah,
I sort of heard of it, but so
lots
back
of guns
then,
down there, I think.
Lots of what?
Lots of guns down there, I think.
Oh, up there. Just about anywhere in America, really. But yeah, so by 1960 it grew so large that businesses started offering drink specials like drink or you can drink beer for $1.50.
Oh, nice.
So that's where the tradition started, I guess. And by 1985, around about 370,000 students were attending spring break in Fort Lauderdale. But that year, 2,500 students got arrested. They were so raucous and made a mess and things like that of the streets that the residents didn't want them anymore. So they banned drinking in public, and pretty much the festivities ended. But of course, other locations sprang up in Florida. Get it? Sprang up, spring break.
Yes, I did. Yeah, I'll have to just hold on. We've got.
Wasn't a good one. Sorry.
No, hold your head down. That was a dad joke.
Yeah, it was. Tail between my legs. So lots of other locations sprang up in Florida, like Panama City, Miami, Texas. Also started holding spring break festivals. And obviously from 1985 till now, it's only gotten bigger and spread across even more cities. But yeah, so even now in Miami, there's discontent amongst the residents with all the partying and, again, just the stuff that they do, the mess they leave behind. So there's talk that they want to try to get rid of it. But then, of course, the local businesses don't want that because then they lose money. So it's a vicious circle where if you get rid of them, you lose economically. The economy loses out because I think they spent about more than $1 billion during that period during spring break. So yeah, so it's a bit of a conundrum. Do they keep it? Do they not? I know the young kids love it, but not everyone does. So yeah, I'm sure it'll continue.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, do they get frisked when they come in? I mean, I don't know. How do you keep guns out of 300,000 people? I mean, that's
Yeah,
a lot of. I mean, most of them are they coming from out of state
A
or?
lot of them are from out of state.
Yeah, so
they're not all locals.
No, that's my point. And I mean, you can imagine the locals being really pissed off about. I'd imagine most locals would rue spring break every year. Go, oh God, not this again. Well, they probably just leave.
Yeah, like they do on the Gold Coast here, where residents leave and it's just ridiculous. I'd hate to live there.
I think the Gold Coast and Florida sort of share the same demographic. Super old people, super brown skin, super leatherized brown skin.
Exactly.
Probably a lot of skin cancer about, I imagine. But,
I'm sure.
But maybe not. It's pretty tough skin, and melanoma probably can't even get through. So, look, spring break in America, hey?
Yeah.
And with guns. Fun.
With guns, yeah.
Oh,
even more exciting.
I think it's time for this.
Only in America.
Only in America.
Hey, this is Hannah Melville Ray from the Australia Institute. I'm listening to the New Blurt with Wency and the and you should be too. It's on Tuesday night, live around 8 p.m.
These guys are certainly not a function of climate change, just a function of life constraint.
Why would a scientist want to change people's vote? I mean, it's all the spin over the past week as they drip fed.
Last month, I found 1 in 4 Americans.
You're listening to Green There, Done That on the New Blurt with Wency and the Kegster.
That's right.
Over to you, my friend.
Over to me. Well, this week I am going to talk about microplastics. It's officially now been found in human blood for the first time, but researchers and scientists have found the tiny particles in about 80% of the people tested. So it was only a small sample, 22 anonymous donors, all healthy adults, and they found plastic particles in 17 of them. Half of the samples contained PET plastic, which is commonly used in drinks bottles.
Yeah.
While a third contained polystyrene used for packaging food and other products.
So PET plastics, that's microplastics, is it?
No, so microplastics and nanoplastics is when when it decays or it's out in the environment, it starts to break down and they become so fine that we start ingesting it via breathing or drinking because it's just everywhere, and because it gets carried by the air because the particles are so fine, it's just everywhere. So it's starting to become quite hard to avoid. It's everywhere. So even at the deepest depths of the ocean, they have found microplastics.
Yeah, no, it's just sad, disgraceful, horrible.
It is.
Yeah.
We don't know what the health impact is at this stage. That's why they're still doing the research. But they have shown in small animals that it can cause issues.
Definitely.
Because it can get lodged in organs and things like that. So.
Well, the problem with some of that microplastics also is some of it is so small that transparent that it can sort of look like plankton or something micro, and then the animals that eat the plankton die because they can't breathe. It's just it's heartbreaking.
It's bad enough that they had been found in feces of babies and adults, which meant they were large enough to be visible or studied. But yeah, this is the first time they've actually seen it in blood samples. So that's tiny. So it's gotten into the body. So not just through the body.
Yeah.
They used new techniques that detected and analyzed particles as small as 0.007 millimeters. So that is just super microscopic. So I can only imagine you ingest billions of that in your lifetime. Who knows what it's going to do to your body?
So do they have any suggestions? What can we do? What can we improve? What do we need to do? What ideas do they have?
Yeah, so obviously we need to move away from plastics, which a lot of local governments are doing. Like in Queensland, I know single-use plastics.
They're a petrol-based product, aren't they?
Yeah. So we need to start moving, I guess, to plant-based products.
Yes.
For all those things. What else can we do? Reduce our consumption of plastics. So instead of buying plastic containers to store your food, buy glass bowls. Yes, it'll be heavier and they're a bit bulkier, but it'll be a lot healthier for you than plastics.
Yeah.
Because even just microwaving your plastics can emit all these microparticles. So,
wow.
Yeah.
So everything we've done to be more efficient and to be faster and smarter and have food quicker and all these different things we've done over the years, we've just been destroying the place and ourselves.
Potentially, yeah. Obviously, still more studies and research to be done, but I'm sure in the next 5 or so years we'll find out a bit more about how all this impacts our own bodies. So yeah, everyone out there, use less plastic products, and
hopefully at the same time we'll find out what COVID does as well.
Yeah, maybe. Hope so. 5 years. It's going to take a while for that to be conclusive.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
But we've got a big sample of people with COVID in the world, so we just need research. With COVID, we've got so many cases around the world. We just need the researchers to do their job to analyze everything, and I'm sure that it'll take a lot less time than it would have for any other disease we've had in the past.
Yeah, they've got to stop experimenting on beer particles and how it can make it more alcoholic for people without putting so much alcohol in or whatever crap they do. No, they need to actually do some proper lab work on some stuff that's going to save people's lives. Now, that is a massive generalization and probably not very fair at all. But I know a lot of that is happening, but we'll just need more of it, unfortunately. So, but you are very, very right. But I know it's a bit doom and gloomy tonight, people. I get it. I understand. But that you do have the choice in your hand. I'm telling you now, if you do not change this government, you're going to have doom and gloom all the time.
Yeah, for at least the next 10 or 15 years.
Because after that, we'll be dead. So
exactly. Yeah.
So
well, did you hear over the last week the North and South Pole temperatures had gone up by about 30 degrees?
Yeah, I heard the good news.
Yeah, just to keep
celebrated that.
Coming. Yeah, exactly. It's getting warmer. That means we can travel further south now.
Yeah.
Or for summer.
Yeah, of course. And then we've got this idiot Taylor trying to tell us we need a gas-led recovery. Trying to pull the wool over people's eyes about hydrogen. Oh, we're going to be exporting hydrogen, blah, 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 blah. Yes, green hydrogen, good. Blue hydrogen. Really fucking bad. So, not good. But the book that I just finished that I highly recommend, I'll put in the show notes as well. I think it's called E-Switch, Electrifying Everything by Saul Griffiths, who I would love to get on this program if we ever could, especially in this segment right now, because he talked about every state in Australia of what they're doing from a renewable energy point of view, and it's very hopeful. And the thing is, we can do it right now. And when I read that book, I just thought, like, everyone needs to go out and read this book. You need to understand what you can do, what it is possible to do, and what we need to do, what we need to make sure our governments do, etc., etc. People may not realise, who listen to this show, but they probably do, that heaps of subsidies are paid to fossil fuels. So I don't know if you read just recently, I caught up with it, about the carbon credit fraud.
Yes, but that scheme is all a fraud. Yes, I was going to talk about it, but it's very meaty, and I thought, I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
In detail, anyway.
It is pretty meaty, but in a nutshell, basically, what it's all about is that the fossil fuel companies are making the carbon. And that's the carbon capture scheme. So I'll talk about that for 2 seconds. So they make the carbon. The whole idea is they capture that carbon. They get credits for capturing that carbon that they made in the first place. And then they use those credits to invest in getting some more gas fracking. So that's fantastic. Now, the other thing we were talking about just 2 seconds ago about the carbon credit fraud, what that's about is that how that works is that someone will say, okay, if you don't clear this land, we'll give you a credit for not clearing it. So it hasn't been cleared.
Yeah.
You don't need to clear it.
No.
And if you don't clear it, we'll give you credit.
Anyway, so there's wasted tax money.
Absolutely a waste of taxpayers' money. And so there's lots of farmers up north that just aren't clearing their land, getting all these carbon credits, but they're not doing anything. They're just not clearing their land, which they shouldn't bloody be doing in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
Because Australia's got one of the worst land clearing reputations. And the other thing I heard this week as well is if New South Wales don't pull their finger out, they're going to lose koalas like dumb.
Exactly, yeah.
It's going to be extinct.
Yeah, same as Queensland. Queensland in the same boat. They're almost on the endangered list.
Queensland and New South Wales, the worst land clearing states in Australia.
Yeah.
And yeah, they've got to get on top of it.
And it doesn't just affect koalas; it's just all the animals that live in those ecosystems: birds, native birds.
And just think about the fires from 2020. We lost billions of animals.
Yeah,
we forget about this, but we lost billions.
Yeah, that would have been.
I mean, I know we lost 100
the population of those animals.
So I know we lost, hundreds of people, but we're talking billions of animals and hectares of land that now has to regenerate. And what people don't understand, and you definitely do, because you've got a bit of a green thumb, etc., is that if you don't regenerate that land, it's not just about regenerating the grasses and the trees and the fungi and then everything and all the whole ecosystem that lives on top of that. So that's what that fraud is all about.
Yeah, and it can't be regenerated with other species of trees and plants because
you might not live in that area.
Yeah, and the animals prefer certain
correct
species of trees or plants because it's what they eat.
Correct.
They won't touch anything else. So
correct.
Yes. It's horrible thought that we're going to lose all these.
It is. It's disgraceful, but there is hope, because in the same podcast I was listening to, they were saying that America was in very much the same situation not that long ago at all.
Okay.
And they've been able to reverse it.
Oh, good.
So
we've got to get there before they become extinct.
You can do it. It's all about policy. It's all about want. It's what do you believe in?
Yes.
What do you want for your country? How do you want your environment to look? What do you want in your environment? Do you want fossil fuels and gas and shit and nothing? Okay, keep going the way we're going. But if you actually want to...
If you value life and what we've got, and the beauty that we have around us, vote with your values, people.
And remember, the Minister for the Environment just said that she has absolutely no responsibility for looking after the environment. Looking after the effects of kids in those environments up north where the barrier reef is getting killed and the mining and all that. Apparently, she has absolutely no responsibility. It's not her responsibility.
No,
But,
just like this government. No responsibility on their actions. So yes.
So
let's make a change, people. That's all I can say. We need a change.
I mean,
there are plenty of good candidates out there that will.
There are indeed.
Yes.
And Wency and I want a change of government. Yes, we need to kick out the LNP, and yes, we need a Labor government. But more than that, we need people that can compromise, work with, have fantastic ideas. People like Senator Rex Patrick. We need Jackie Lambie back in. I never thought I'd say that, but we do need Jackie Lambie back in. She's changed so much and grown so much in the last few years.
She sure has.
And yeah, she's really, really sticking it up. I heard her on a podcast the other day. She's saying we don't know Albo, although we sort of do. We don't know him as a leader, but what we do know is that you can't have this government anymore. They've, we're so down the toilet so much that we just need to get out of it. Anyway, this is hopefully a little bit more hopeful, and then we'll close up the show because it's been a long one tonight. We've really gone on and on.
Jeez.
But hopefully people will enjoy it when it gets recorded, edited slightly. Anyway, I'm going to talk about climate groups saying a change in coding can reduce Bitcoin energy consumption by 99%. I was listening to this the other day. So you probably know that people that mine Bitcoin and people that trade in Bitcoin, etc., the amount of power that is needed to fund this whole industry is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
very ungreen.
Yeah, it's totally ungreen. So, classic example: Bitcoin mining already uses as much as the energy as Sweden. Digest that for a little bit. Digest that. According to some reports, and booming popularity in revitalizing failing fossil fuel enterprises, but all could change with a simple switch in the way it's coded. We know all about that. According to the campaign launched on Tuesday. The campaign called Change the Code, Not the Climate, and coordinated by Environmental Working Group, Greenpeace USA, and several groups battling Bitcoin mining facilities. Suffice to say, because I'm just going to say this outright, because I can feel it. I've got practice on Thursday and the show this weekend. I can feel my voice going. So I don't want to kill that, so I'm not going to. But what I will say is the campaign is launching with digital advertising in the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Market Watch, Political, Facebook, and other publications. Anyway, so what I just spoke about then, I will put in the show notes, and I apologize for not reading that out and discussing it a bit more, but I can definitely feel my voice going, which is not good.
No, but I can definitely vouch that the price of computer components will come down if that gets realized, because prices of graphics processors or graphics cards, memory has gone up considerably over the last 5 years because of crypto mining.
Demand.
Which is why we've had this chip shortage over the last 2 years, where car manufacturers don't have the components to put the smarts into their cars.
Is that because of the Bitcoin miners?
Not just because of that, but it's just the whole chip shortage that we've had as well. So there's two things happening there. Mobile phones have had problems with procuring processors and chips and things like that, as well as memory. And if this is successful, this code change, and it's adopted by cryptocurrencies, then hopefully that means, one, better for the environment, but two, better for the cost of products in electronics.
Yeah, and I'm still not sure. I'm still not sure. Yeah, where Bitcoin goes. You know, really.
Yeah,
not
who
sure.
knows? Yeah, a couple of countries have picked up crypto as a trading currency. El
I think
Salvador, I think.
El Salvador's the first one, I think.
Yeah, and then there's other countries. I think America's now starting to move towards making it legal. Well, not that it's illegal, but using it as currency.
I thought you could buy a house in America on crypto already.
Yeah, I think you can. Can't remember. I think it was some sort of government thing that maybe they're going to start using it officially. But yeah, I think it's going to take off. It's just, yeah, I think there's just too many coins and it's just confusing for people.
Well, as you know, it's finite, so sooner or later.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then they'll just create more coins. Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand it well enough to have a proper comment on it, but it's a bit scary.
I definitely don't. I mean, probably when I finish the show, I think I'll get back onto the Crypto Curious podcast and sort of just try to get my head around a bit of what's going on. I've reached out to the director of that podcast, and they're happy to come on the show as well.
Nice.
On one of our, I don't know if it's Econo Babble or whatever money segment we've got. So, so that would be interesting because you know they can tell us what they think is happening in the industry because really, I'm slightly clueless to it. It's got to be said. I mean, I've done a bit of reading and listening and stuff, but I'm still can't work out how you make money out of it. I still just don't get it. But I mean, I'm not the only one. Scott Pate doesn't get it. Warren Buffett doesn't get it. You know,
and there's
a lot of they don't understand, so they don't invest. So, but saying that, I think that is your lot, people.
Yep.
So
we don't want to lose your voice.
No, I've got to. Yeah, I'm going to have to get some honey. I think honey and hot water.
Yes.
So,
bit of whiskey. Hot toddy. I think you need a hot toddy.
Yes. Without alcohol, though, I think.
Yeah, it does.
So, okay, brilliant. So the next time we see you, it will be in Vicky's soil.
It will be, hopefully, in the same room together.
Yes.
And don't forget, next week's show, we have Councillor Nicole Johnson, who is the councillor in the previous house where we got flooded. She'll be on the show.
That will be amazing. As I said, we can't do that one here, unfortunately, because still got a bit of COVID hanging about.
Yes.
So, as I said to you, otherwise I'd invite you in, but the other two are just getting out of COVID, so I don't know if it's a great idea.
We'll work it out.
Because I'd already worked it all out. I was like, I know where we're going to put you up and blah, blah, blah. And then everyone got COVID. So that sort of stuffed everything up slowly. Yeah. But anyway. So good. I should be seeing you Saturday night then?
Yes.
All right.
Well, I'll be seeing you. You may not see me easily, but
no. If you hang around afterwards, I'll come see you. Sure. For a bit. So
absolutely.
All right. Good night, people. Come to the show. It's in the show notes.
Yeah. And good luck to you on the night over the weekend.
Thanks very much.
Break a leg, as they say in the industry.
Yes. Happy to do that. Just don't want to break my voice because that's what's.
That's the worst part. Yeah.
All right. Not a problem.
All right.
Good night, people. Good night, my friend.
Toodles.
Look forward to seeing you soon.
All right. See you in Melbourne.